Hello everyone, welcome to this Harmony and Health event for long COVID sufferers. My name is Julia Outlaw and very happy to see some familiar faces today. Feel free to keep your videos on if you'd like, it helps for the presenters to see people. Harmony and Health is a group of people who work in many different disciplines, trying to bring together ancient wisdom and modern disciplines to find things that practically help our own well-being and health. And you've probably seen more on our website about our other projects. But today is about grounding. And grounding, I know it's talked about a little bit and sort of a trendy thing about walking with bare feet on the ground or trying to ground yourself sometimes, find your roots. And we're interested today in exploring that in a bit more detail, how it can really help when your nervous system is out of balance or you're very tired, and how you can find something more embodied and grounded. And I will introduce the presenters for today. So we have lovely three presenters today, we're very lucky. And the first one is Philippa Castell. Welcome, Philippa. Philippa is a Alexander Technique teacher, has been for over 30 years and is also teaches Feldenkrais awareness through movement. So she's really spent a lot of time exploring this mind-body connection and for herself through various health issues. She's a deeply compassionate teacher and also a great tango dancer and gardener. So welcome, Philippa.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me today.
Next, we're going to hear from Małgorzata Jabłońska, who we had a wonderful story with a few sessions back. And she is a theatre researcher in Poland, has worked with the Grotowski Institute, and also is doing a PhD on physicality and actor training. And today, Małgorzata is going to talk to us about stream of consciousness writing and how that can be a way to connect and ground with ourselves. Hello, Małgorzata.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me.
And finally, Anne Andanese. Anne is a natural movement teacher. So she works with people, many different people, to help them connect more inwardly with themselves and outwardly with nature and the environment around them through movement. She also has a very varied portfolio of work, including introducing aromatherapy and Pilates to Norway. And Anne, I know, welcome for coming. And she, I know, is in the middle of some trying news, but is happy to be here today and help us ground. So thank you so much, Anne, for being here.
Thank you, Julia. And it is actually really lovely to be here, especially today for grounding. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
So let's begin, and I will hand over to Philippa.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to guide you through a short practice which is based in the Feldenkrais Method. So you can do this preferably lying on your back. I'm not going to demonstrate anything. It's going to be guided solely through words. So you really don't need to look at the screen at all. So if you're comfortable to come and lie on your back on the floor, do. But you can do it in any position that's comfortable for you. The priority is that you're comfortable. So you could do this seated if for some reason you prefer not to lie down. If it's not comfortable for you to lie on your back, then you could do it lying on your side. So just find a position where you can really feel comfortable and secure. And as the theme is grounding, if you're able to be on the floor, of course, that's great. You can have that contact. I'll just give you all a moment to find your best position. I advise you to ignore the screen if you want to do this practice. The screen is a strong pull magnet for our attention. If you're wearing glasses, you could take them off. So whatever position you're in, just listen into yourself for a moment and feel if there's any way you could make yourself more comfortable. Would it help if you had a bit of padding somewhere? A little bit of support under your head or anywhere else? Is there anything that you're doing muscularly which could stop? Are you clasping your hands? Could you release that if you are? And then listen into your contact with the floor. If you're lying down or if you're sitting, you could simply listen into the sense of contact underneath your sitting bones and the floor under your feet. And feel, if you're lying on your back on the floor, if somebody had covered the whole of the back of you in some colored paint or ink, what shape would be left on the floor? What sort of an imprint are you making? And you can do the same idea, whatever position you're in. You use this image of a color, an imprint, to get to know more clearly your support, the places in you that are resting, the places where you feel weight dropping through your structure into whatever the surface is. And then take a few moments to tune into your breath. So you're not looking for a particular way to breathe. Simply connect with your breath as it happens to be right now. You sense the in and out flow of the breath. Without imposing anything, without judging it, without thinking, oh, it would be better if it was like this or like that. Simply let yourself experience it as it is. And then when you're next on an out breath, follow the out breath all the way to the end. And see, when you come to the end of an out breath, where do you feel the impulse for the next in breath? Where in your body do you feel the first beginnings of something moving, something happening? You might find there's naturally a pause at the end of the out breath, but don't make a pause if one doesn't arise. So simply listen in, an out breath ends, and then a new breath comes in, and you're not trying to make it big or anything in particular, but feel within yourself, where's the first place you feel that beginnings of the in-breath? And see, can you track the sensation of breath over your nostrils? Can you sense the current of air as it passes over your nostrils? And then keep a sense of the breath there in the background and start to bring your interest, your curiosity to sensing your face. Can you feel differences between the right side and the left side of your face? Does the right side or the left side feel larger to you? And what about the size of each eye? The sensation around each eye? Take your attention for a moment into your right eye, into the eyeball, into the sense of depth and volume and three-dimensionality of your right eye. Feel how it's just resting there in the skull. And start to look behind the closed lids. Your eyes can be closed. Start to look with your right eye. Of course, the left will follow, but your attention is on the right eye. Start to look a bit to the right. Move that right eye to the right. That's it, slowly, and then to the left a little bit, and feel whether you can allow your head to follow. Again, don't move it just because it's been suggested, but see, is it possible? Is there an impulse? Do you feel any change in the tone of the musculature of your neck? As you move, look with the right eye, a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. And then leave that a moment, just stop. Take a moment again, listen into your sensation of the left and right sides of your face, your eyes. And now bring your attention to your left eye. And what do you think of the word eye? Do you think of the surface of your eye only? Or could that idea encompass the depth, the eyeball into the skull? And start to move that eye. Of course the other will follow, but your intention, your attention is on moving the left eye. A little bit one way, a little bit the other. And listen in again to the tone of the neck and feel whether that movement of the eyes could invite a slight rolling of your head. If you're on your side, of course, you'll be looking a little bit into the floor. The movement will be very, very small. If you're sitting, you'll feel the back of your head move in space. If you're lying, you feel the changing pressure of the back of your head on the floor. And is the awareness of breath still present to some extent? Could you again invite the awareness of breath into the background? And now we're going to work with some movements with your right hand. So see, can you find a place to put your right hand? It doesn't have to be the right, it could be the left if you're, for any reason, you're in a position which makes the right hand inconvenient for you. But see if you can find a way to support your arm, one of your arms, so that the palm is facing upwards towards the ceiling. So you want to have the back of your hand resting. If you're on your back, it could be resting on the floor, or you could always put a pillow cushion underneath it. If you're sitting, of course, just rest it wherever you can find a comfortable place. And start to listen into the space around your hand, between your fingers. And then slowly begin to move one of your fingers, whichever one you like, begin to move it towards the thumb. So you start to bring one of your fingers towards the thumb slowly. And can you measure how that distance between the fingertip and the thumb tip is diminishing? Can you measure it? Can you gauge? Can you guess? Can you sense the moment where you're just about to touch the finger and the thumb? And you'll find perhaps each time you repeat this slowly, you get more accurate. Perhaps the first time it's a bit of a surprise when the fingertip and thumb tip meet. Can you gradually develop sensitivity where you stop just short of actual contact? So you're moving the finger towards the thumb, and feel, does the thumb move towards the finger too? So the thumb and the finger can approach each other. Just a very soft movement. And then choose a different finger. Choose a different finger, it doesn't matter which one. And again, softly, slowly start to bring the tip of that finger towards the thumb tip. And take it away. And bring it together. And again, listen within yourself to how do you measure? How do you get a sense? How do you assess the distance? What is it that informs you about the space between the finger and thumb and the relationships within the whole hand? And then you can move on to another finger and feel how each finger creates the need for a slightly different organization. As you go through each finger, is it getting more difficult or a little less simple? And then whichever finger you haven't done yet, bring that one towards the thumb tip, take it away. That's it, very soft, so you're not looking to have any sense of stretching the hand open or anything like that. Just simply very softly closing. Could you then bring all 4 fingers and thumb tips towards each other, thumb tip? So you're making this little very soft pulsing where the hand just almost closes. The fingers and the thumb almost close and then open. And then keep that going softly and listen to your breath. Could you coordinate? And again, don't do this immediately, but give yourself time to find a coordination of the breath with the movement of the hand. So the length of the breath is what dictates how fast or slow your hand moves. And you could organize to start with so that as your hand opens, you breathe in. And as the breath goes out, the hand expresses that, the hand closes. Just a normal breath. You allow the length of the breath to change as it needs to. And that's it, and you open the hand to express the opening in the breath. And close. You have a sense that the palm can soften. And then keep that going and start softly behind your closed lids to move your eyes a little bit to the right. And you could allow the head to roll. So the breath is still going, of course, and the hand is expressing the rhythm of the breath. And you look a little bit one way, just very small, keep it very comfortable. And you let your head then roll the other way, your eyes initiate that rolling of the head. Even behind the closed lids, what's your focal length? Could you imagine behind your closed lids as if you were looking far, far into the sky? As if you're following something with your eyes the way you might follow a slow-moving aeroplane or something like that. And let the movement of your head be on a different rhythm than the hand and the breath. The hand and the breath are together. And your head could go slower. And of course, if you feel uncomfortable doing any of these things, just don't do them. If you feel anything not pleasant to you, then just leave it. And then see, could you change the coordination of the breath so that instead of breathing in when the hand opens, you time the breath so that you exhale as the hand opens. That's it. Slowly let the head movement stop. And then let the hand movement just slowly, slowly fade away. So it's just, you just let it stop and feel the echo of it when it has stopped. And again, tune into your breath, follow the out breath. And start to just let your eyes open, just the smallest amount. So your eyes just open a little way, so you're taking in some light, some color, some impressions through your eyes. Can you still feel the ground? Does all your attention go into seeing? You know, we're very much visually dominated. Can you still sense your breath as you look around a little bit more? Softly, and still feel the floor. And then in a moment you're going to get up, but again, don't do it straight away. Just give yourself the idea and see if you can find a way. You just have that intention to get up again. Of course, if you want to stay there, do, but we'll be moving on to the next section in a moment. So can you find a way to get up in which you still have something of that quality of connection with yourself? Take the time you need, no rush at all, just take the time you need. And when you're standing, you could just simply pause there a moment, give yourself time to get oriented into the room, into your space, into the fact that there's a screen out there. And thank you very much. I hope you found that useful and interesting.
Thank you, Philippa. Wonderful. To come back to being here now. It was lovely on the ground there, and just listening to your questions somehow really helps my awareness get into those places. And it's very interesting, I think, how we don't need to do big movements. It doesn't have to be complicated, but something I wish something like that when I was stuck in bed, you know, would be very, very useful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a lovely practice to do if you can't sleep. You know, you can just do it lying in bed and can really help just take the attention away from thoughts and whatever else is going on.
Yes. And particularly when it linked with the breath, it really felt like, yeah, that helps me ground. It's very small movements. Any questions, Philippa? Do put them in the chat, and she'll also be around at the end and we can talk to you then. Okay. Now I will hand over to Małgorzata, talk about stream of consciousness writing.
Yes, thank you, Philippa, also for this practice. And I hope to tell you about another way to maybe unburden our head from those thoughts that maybe there are too many of them. When I presented the story, I told you that stories can work for us. And today I want to show you another way, stories and narrations and our language, as we are very much connected as animals who have language. We are very much connected, our brains are connected to this language. So yes, how story can work for us. They can expand, of course, our vocabulary if we read them, and they are excellent for memory improvement in terms when we read them, when we try to tell them, of course, also when we write them. And they can aid in mental stimulation, improve concentration also, and develop working with stories, working with narration, working with language can develop a better analytical skills for thinking. So whenever this is a problem, language can help us with that. Reading and writing can have positive impact for those who can who choose to employ them as a stress reduction mechanism. And today I would like to tell you something about writing and about one of the writing techniques, which is called stream of consciousness. And before I will dive into technicalities, let's start by saying that we have all those voices in our head. Most people hear voices in their head or kind of narrations of their thoughts. Not everybody, but most people. And sometimes we get overwhelmed by those thoughts. They are sometimes connected in chains or in trains. They're fast or there are too many of them. We sometimes get overwhelmed by them. But we do have this very cute mechanism to catching them. And this is, of course, writing. Thanks to our language, we can write them down. And therefore, we can pin them down and come back to them and think them over, let's say, because thoughts are not us. We are the ones who think them, but they are not us. So remembering that, and in terms of chaos and on moments of chaos or fog in our brains, we can always choose to pinpoint our thoughts and come back to them later, or have analytical view of them, a little bit more objective, maybe with time or something like that. So why writing in such moments can be helpful? You're bearing witness to your own thoughts, or maybe some situation that is happening. It is an active action whenever you cannot take any other action. This is an active action in situation when you cannot do anything else. Writing is this kind of action. It also allows us to come to terms with our own emotions, because when we pinpoint them, we can come back from a distance and look at them again and analyze them. And of course, also writing can be an anchor for our attention. When there is a problem with attention, writing can help us put those thoughts in order, and really anchoring the physical action of writing, which I'll tell you more in a moment, can really anchor us and help us come back with our attention to the here and now. So yes, and about stream of consciousness, it is literally a technique which is usually just consisting of continuous writing. Usually to it is conceived as a way of showing the protagonist's thoughts or character's thoughts, but of course it can be used in journaling and, as I said, pinpointing our own thoughts. It is usually used without punctuation, without taking care of style, just loose stream, as it is called, of language, of words. And it can be a mix of styles, and can change at any moment. You don't have to make precise sentences. You can omit notation or this punctuation at any time. And how to use this kind of stream of consciousness writing for our advantage, and technically how to use it. It's easiest way to do it is to just sit for a moment with a piece of paper, something to write, and just start writing. If for any reason a piece of paper and pen is not easy, is not available, you can of course use your keyboard, whatever is easy and natural for you. Both I would prefer use pen, because this physical action of putting pen to paper and seeing this black or blue or red stream of line that is forming before me is maybe also this kind of contemplative action, meditation action. And it can put us in this mood even further. But if keyboard is something which is easier for you, or more natural, or faster, it is of course can be used. And writing is wonderful just because that you can use either loose papers and pencil, or your notebook and your very cute pen, or any file in any moment on your computer, or even your mobile if you wish, any app like Evernote or OneNote or Keep in Google or something like this. So this is great tool because you can adjust it to your possibilities and your wishes and your situation. And then just write everything. You just don't ask when you start yourself. You just start writing. You can even start by saying, I don't know what to write, but I will try to write, as this is an exercise, and so on, and leave your thoughts to just pour out of you. And be honest, because you're writing for yourself. So this is another technicality. Just be honest, let it just flow out of you, and try to catch whatever is flowing, not paying very much attention to what you are actually writing in a moment. Just write. And then how long? Of course, it depends how long you feel like writing, or you can put aside, like, I will write for 5 minutes, and put aside a timer and just write. And it will also be this me time that allows us to just be in the moment for this short period of time. But if you are struggling with stress or heightened emotion, just give yourself whatever time you need and just start writing until you feel like this is it, I'm done. And here are some situations in which writing can be helpful. How to use it, actually, the stream of consciousness writing, in which situation it can be useful. So when you want to learn something about yourself, about your feelings, so assuming that you will approach this writing with honesty, and you really will write everything that you have in your head, you can then after a while come back to this notes and read them. It will be informative for you, as those notes will change in time. For example, it is used as habits like morning pages, for example. So people sometimes set 5 or 10 minutes with the morning coffee, and they just write everything they have in their head in the morning. So then after, for example, in the end of the week or in the end of the month, they review whatever they write. And this is something that will inform you what are the thoughts every morning in your head. So you can learn from this maybe some worries that come back and you need dealing with them in a way. But this will be informative if you be honest and you give it a time. And of course, you can choose in this kind of writing, you can choose your topics. You can ask yourself a question: what do I think about this issue? Or how do I feel about this situation? And then just go and try to write. But next to situations is something that I actually practiced during my very long time of therapy, and can be, of course, this tool helpful during this process of therapy. So in the moments of strong emotions, writing can help. Definitely, if you don't have anyone to share these emotions with, it can be helpful. But also it can be helpful because when you have this very strong like anger or anxiety, or you're annoyed or powerless, and just like those negative emotions, this can help to speed them out, to just write them down. Paper is very patient. It will take everything, like the horrible worst invectives or ridiculous accusations. Paper will take everything with peaceful, and it will be very, very patient with you. And then you can revise those thoughts. You can rearrange them if you want to share them with anybody. So we can give you some possibility of ordering them. But even better, if you just want to unload your great emotions, you can then just burn the paper or tear it off, or just delete the file, and you can get rid of those emotions. So this can be one of the uses. But then you can also use it when you're very worried. If there's a problem, I don't know how to deal with the problem, you can also use the stream of consciousness writing. Try to write about it. How do I feel about this problem? What are my worries? Why am I worrying about it like this? What can I do not to worry about this? And after writing everything about this problem you have, you can again give yourself a few minutes break, come back, or even during writing, you can see that either this problem is not really yours to handle, so you can take it off your chest, or this is something you already thought through and there is an action to be taken. So this is clearly coming from this text. Or maybe you will just see that this is, you will have the solution when you finish writing, because this thoughts can be overwhelming, but also our brain is like wired to show us the darkest scenarios. So if we keep those worries inside our head and don't have any tool to objectify them, to watch them objectively, they can undermine our self-confidence. So this tool, like writing them down and looking at them from the side, can help us see those worries from objective point of view, more objective point of view. So write, take a moment, go back to them, read and question every sentence. Do I really think like that? Do I really know these things that I think I know? Do I agree what is written here, or are there only voices from the, you know, from the street, from our society roles, our society expectations, or do I really think like this? So you can always check those thoughts that are pouring out of you this way. So yes, and of course, when you read those sentences that you write during highest emotions, you can always just take them again, destroy the paper or delete the file, and let go of everything of this. And as I said, this will also help in the situations when you have to keep a secret, or you don't, you know, you're not in the position to quarrel with somebody, but you really, really, really want to say some bad words to those people. Bad words also is something that actually let go of a little bit of dopamine in our head, and although curse words help us deal with pain and with anxiety. So if we cannot scream them out or shout them at people, maybe writing them will also help us. So yeah, then we can of course order all those thoughts. If we see that these are actual you know, thoughts that we want to keep, we of course can keep them. And then this kind of writing also helps. This is another situation, maybe to just be easier to remind you about those situations. Yeah,
just a couple of minutes, Małgorzata.
Yes. Okay. So another, the fourth, when you want to start to work, but there is too much thought in your head, brain dump. So the fourth, to concentrate, brain dump, write everything you have in your head. Like I need to flower my plants, I need to do breakfast, I need to post some documents, everything. Paper will hold it down, so you can easily have time and brain space to work, and then you can come back, of course, to all those notes. And last situation when you can use stream of consciousness writing is when you actually want to write, when you don't know if you're trying to start work writing, like a blog or a letter or whatever it is, article. You can start by just what already I have, what I know, and maybe you will find yourself half, you know, way through your blog note. And just to show you this kind of writing prompts when you really don't know where to start. Oh yes, those writing prompts might be helpful. So if you want to give some kind of direction for your writing, you can write down everything that you achieved in your life that will bring some hope and lift you up in your spirit. You can, of course, imagine your favorite fictional character. What would my hero do? So you can start with this situation, or try to write an imaginary letter if you really want to put your point through to someone, but you don't know how to start a conversation with someone. For example, where this is someone who is gone, for example, you can start writing an imaginary letter to someone. Of course, you can also start with this kind of word association prompt. If you have one word that is like stress or illness or maybe health or peace, you can start by what kind of peace? Peace of mind, peace of, peace on the world. And then those word associations also prompt you to writing, and you can go from there. So yeah, that would be all from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know how to not share my, stop share, yes.
You got it. Thank you, Małgorzata. It's such an interesting practice, and yes, we will share those prompts so that you can look back at them. It's like many people, I'm someone who has a very busy mind, and I do find, actually, like you said, with a pen and paper, it kind of bypasses that bit and something can be expressed and come out more easily, and it's very interesting. I mean, I guess as you explore it more, you sort of find your way in what works for you.
Yes, I find definitely this emotional writing, when you really like need to fast spit out those emotions. I find this very, very helpful, because paper is patient.
Yes, paper is patient. Another thing I saw was people who took a flower or a tree and sort of took that as their starting point to write, just something very simple. I mean, it doesn't have to be momentous. You can write anything, can't you?
Yes. Yeah. It can be like a hobby. Like you can write a story, of course. Literary writing also give our, food to our thought, and literary writing actually gives us this mental activity. This is very conceptual work. It's actually hard work. So if we really want to push our brain, start writing a story.
Yes. And we need that exercise, just like our body needs to move, our brain needs to move, and our emotions. And of course, they're all linked as we're exploring in all of these sessions. Thank you, Małgorzata. I'm going to hand over to Anne now for some natural movement. Anne.
Hello, aren't I lucky coming after you two? I feel you've done half my job for me, Philippa and Małgorzata. And really, I just want to be able to build on the theme of grounding and what you have already started. Before I say any more, I'd just like to read just a couple of lines of about nature, because my theme is grounding within natural movement. Natural is rather an overused word, I know, but I can find no other way of expressing the work I do. Nature is very important to me, and I think it's important to everybody. And I get my inspiration from nature when I'm out looking at how nature is formed in the world and the planet. And we are just a part of nature. We are formed practically in the same way. When nature out there doesn't have it any good to very good, we don't have it very good. When nature, when the climate, when the environment, we look after it and care for it and love it, it will sort itself out. It has a healing, it's self-healing, and we are able to do the same as well, given the right conditions. Henry David Thoreau on nature, he has so many lovely writings about it. Just this little very short note, because I think it expresses so well. Nature makes no noise. The howling storm, the rustling leaf, the pattering rain are no disturbance. There is an essential and unexplained harmony, an unexplored harmony in them. And I think that can relate to us as well. And that's what I'm going to invite you to join me in doing a little bit of exploration, a bit of play, a bit of natural movement. And that means really anything goes. You can do as little or as much as you wish and how you feel. Eventually, I will be sitting a little bit further back from you, and I will be standing at some points, and I invite you just to do as you feel. If you only want to watch, you can do that and try it again later on your own. But the main thing is we're here together now. And I've been out in my garden just before we came on screen, and I got inspired from the vines. I have a vine outside my window, and I do live up north, remember, near in the Arctic practically, and I've got grapes outside my window, I will do later. And I'm always amazed how they go up like Jack and the Beanstalk, and with the light and the warmth, intense, almost 24 hours a day, of course, here. And so they are radiating and climbing, full of energy and vitality, almost day and night. I go out and I see little pieces of wood and I see the shapes that they have grown into. And again, that inspires me of we can do just the same. We can do sorts of movements that we can open ourselves and radiate and grow in accordance with that. And here's another one. This reminds me of the very big collarbone clavicle. So I keep this one for my teaching the students. Again, a lovely worn, weathered piece of wood showing all its growth and its light. Our bones are light. We must remember that when we're moving. We can move with lightness. Our bones are light, just like the wood and the trees and the bushes and the flowers we found out there. But of course, we need to be grounded, and we have, again, that features within us as well, and that's the stones and pebbles, which I'm sure you enjoy playing with when you were little or walking on now, and I hope you still will play with them even as we get older. They are fantastic exercise to walk on, and I use them in my classes, pebbles rather than manual weights. I don't go in the gym anymore. I use nature, what I can find. I'm going to withdraw a little bit further away from you, and if you can find, sit comfortably on your seats, and as it's grounding, we are talking about let us start. We are on 2 legs, just like the dinosaurs. We haven't evolved that much, a little bit, of course. They were also on 2 legs. And we start with our feet for grounding. I just remove my glasses, and you can do the same. And let us just place our feet comfortably in front of us, underneath our knees. Our knees are in line approximately with our hip joints. Have we got that? And we've got 2 sit bones there nicely. And as you might have seen, I do like a squidgy cushion because I like to move all the time. But anyway, 2 sit bones underneath you, and do some of that lovely breathing you were doing with Philippa to start with. And just breathe up through your spine and feel your spine lengthening as it does as you breathe in naturally. Don't overbreathe, just let it come naturally to you. Breathing gently in through your nostrils and feel your spine expanding and lengthening up through the crown of your head. And as you breathe out, you can just slowly let your lungs release and breathe fully out to as far as you feel comfortable. And then just do a couple more breaths as you settle yourself. And breathe out. And this time feel you're breathing out through the soles of your feet. And breathe in once more this time. Can you also get the sensation of breathing in through your nostrils and through the soles of your feet? And just release as you breathe out. Breathing out into the earth and feel the ground. Feel the connection between the soles of your feet and the ground. And if your eyes are closed, you may keep them closed. If they're open, you may keep them open. Now just have a feeling of your feet spreading now, spreading out nice and wide and lengthening if they will, and your toes with space between each toe. You might want to just lift your toes squiggle them a bit and just place them back down. Good. Now from this start position, can you just release your knee out to one side and bring it back without moving your toes? Your big toe right through to your little toe stays on the ground in front of you there. So it is only your knee and your thigh bone doing a releasing movement from your hip joint. You've got a nice juicy hip joint, lots of moisture in there, lubricating, warmth you can feel. You've got that lovely round head of your thigh bone, just rotating in there. Again, the rotation is a natural movement that we find everywhere. And just alternate one leg and the other and feel if there's any difference between the two sides. Do you find you're lifting up one toe more, big toe, more on one side than the other? Is it difficult to release that knee and thigh without lifting the toe, big toe especially? Okay, just a little exploration, just letting it go as your pelvis is a beautiful little cradle or a bowl resting underneath you, and your spine is resting on your pelvis, your sacrum actually, and still lengthening up, and you are still breathing gently as well, nothing forced. And you can do both together. Are the big toes still there? And bring back in, and let them go out again. And bring them back in. It's quite difficult. I find my big toes want to curl up, especially on the one side where I've had an injury. Now I invite you to stand, or you can remain sitting if you wish. I'm going to stand for this one. And we're still looking at our feet. I want you to see my head as well as my feet. Most important is my feet. And again, we have planted them underneath us. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to raise one heel. If you'd like to join me, if you wish, you can just raise up one heel. And now I want you to just do a little circle. Can your heel create a circle whilst it's lifted with the ball of your foot still planted on the ground, on the earth? So just let your heel freely rotate. Again, lovely rotation, circling round and the other way. And again, I'm using my hand as well, first to demonstrate because my heel is behind me, but why not? You can do your hand as well. We have these lovely curves everywhere in nature. And now let's do a smiley. Can you do a smiley shake with your heel and still keep your ball of your foot planted on the ground? A smile. And we can do a figure of 8, and you can explore and play with all sorts of shapes with your heel in the air. And that is loosening right up, because what we want to do with a body which is recovering or has pain is to open up all the channels. And these gentle movements are lovely opening movements for our whole system, our whole inner nature. And let's do the other side as well. Just raise our heel, and let's just start with the simplest, which is a circle. Circling our heel and circling the other way. Again, don't have to do it fast, do it as slow as you wish. And again, if you wish to sit, you do it sitting. Just a little bit of balance when we're standing. And a smile with the heel, draw a smile in the air. And your big toe and little toe out to the little toe still on the ground? Or is one of them wanting to come up? And do whatever shapes you wish in the air with your heel. Again, lovely little bit of work here for your playtime, for your ankle. And releasing all the way up your leg through into your hip joint. We're not tightening anything around our seat muscles or abdominals. Keep everything open and free and flowing. Flow is a good word to remember here. And you may just sit down once more. If you're not already there, again, just have your feet beautifully in front of you, well balanced. Again, feel yourself opening. And I would like just to go up to our upper body for a moment, just to connect the two, because we have grounded. And I want you to feel your heart being very light. We want a lightness in our chest and respiratory system. So feel a lightness in your heart. And if you can imagine now your lungs to be lovely white fluffy clouds, you know, those lovely fluffy clouds, those are your lungs. And I want you to feel, if you can, that those fluffy clouds are going in to embrace your heart. So we have a little inward movement. I will just change my position so you can see, because this is, again, a natural movement. It is natural. We go into ourselves sometimes. And we're going to open. That's those clouds opening up your heart. And you have a lovely light heart. And we're coming in again. This area where our vertical line and our upper horizontal line meet in this middle point here, that's why I'm thinking of our heart being a lovely light, free, open area. And our lungs are also free, but they are giving a little embrace to our heart in that region and opening up. And we're going into these spaces we have within us. And open. We're creating more space. I don't want to think of your rib cage, because that can give an imagery of being something tight. I want you to be able to feel a lovely freedom in this area. And can we then just play and extend that out to our arm and fingertips and vision out to our fingertips there. So again, from our lungs and our heart, our arm can expand and radiate out from us. And we can, again, create as many shapes as we wish, as big or as small as you want. Doesn't matter. And you can go down to the ground, and you can go up if you wish, or you can just keep it on the one level, depending on how you're feeling in the moment. And you are gently breathing into all these spaces in yourself. And just do the other side as well. Open your heart. Feel those two little fluffy clouds there, embracing, supporting your hearts, radiating out to the peripheral areas, right out to your fingertips and beyond. And that's your vision. And you're connecting from your inner to your outer. And bring back down. So think of all the shapes we have in nature, all the curves, the endless movement. And whenever you're going out for a little walk, take a little moment and just do some little movements you find out there. Don't be rigid. It's not going to the gym. It's not press-ups. It is opening your body, creating a wonderful atmosphere and foundation for your body and your cells and all the fluid in your body to flow beautifully through you without any hindrance. We're going back to the source, to the essence where everything is pure. The source of any river is pure. So we're going to the essence of ourself again, and all the movements that we are born with, from we are an embryo through as a fetus and through life. And we do lose a bit of that movement, but there's no problem regaining your natural movement again, if you allow it.
Thank you.
So I think I'm going to have to stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We've reached the end of the time, but that was lovely.
I know.
Like you say, not press ups. You don't have to do downward dog. You can just, I think we maybe get into the same habits of moving every day. I do that or I do that.
Can
just
be mechanical.
Ways we can move. It's wonderful. Thank you. So just before we open for questions, I'll tell you briefly about the workshop in 2 weeks' time, where the theme is connecting. So we're going to hear about some summer drinks, some refreshing summer drinks that you can have when you connect with your friends again. And a presentation from a neuroscientist and dancer about the connection between the gut and the brain and how that affects us, our emotions and our well-being. And also something about the vagus nerve and the connections between us there and how that affects fight and flight and our nervous system. So another interesting one coming up, and I hope to see you there. Thank you.